And folks, this is our good friend, Chef Danny Wolf from the U.S. Army Reserve, as we are here to celebrate everything involving the U.S. Army Reserve and also other celebrations that are going on that a lot of people around the world are going to be paying attention to here in about a week and a half or so. And first, before we get involved in the food stuff here, Chef, what is going on with those that are serving this time of year when you have a major event like we will have in about a week and a half with the football game?
Right. What happens is everybody picks a team. Even if it's not their team, they pick a team.
So if you're serving, you don't have to pick the Patriots?
No.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay.
But anyways, so they try to have some sort of Super Bowl parties wherever they're set up, because sometimes we can get things in from satellite. Sometimes it's from Skype, and that.
Okay.
So as much as possible, soldiers try to, do that. And they kind of do the traditional. We got the wings, and the salary and kind of traditional. It's still difficult, but it brings home back. And I mean, we're always together. We're always brothers. But when a Super Bowl, any sporting event comes together, it's just kind of funny because everybody, they're with a team or not. You know what I mean? And it gets to be fun, and they do bets for like push-ups and stuff like that.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so that, instead of money, we're not supposed to do that. So they'll do bets,
Some
13
physical activities.
Right, exactly.
Maybe some chores involved.
Yes.
That could work.
Yep,
That is
definitely.
but again, you said it does bring the feeling of home back to wherever they're serving, because some of these folks have been away for quite a long time.
Right, and it makes, even if you're in a non-aggressive spot, it's still, you're away from home. Sometimes, if you're going to watch the Super Bowl, it might be starting at 3 o'clock in the morning for you. Depends where you are in the country. But it's just fun, because that's what everybody talks about. They're all getting excited about that, and makes it interesting.
All right, so we're going to help you create some things, and we have a couple of different things we're going to be doing here today. So let's first talk about something you brought here today, because obviously you have to start off with appetizers. If you're having a big old party, you're going to need to start with some appetizers, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what do we have over here?
Okay, what we have is I want to come up with things that are pretty simple, doesn't cost you a lot. You can do kind of generic when you go to do it. And what I have here is a bread, and you've probably seen it before, bread bowl. Cut out. I like to use this here to cut it, kind of give it a little different decoration.
Now, was that a melon cutter? Or
That's a melon cutter,
okay.
V cutter. I mean, you can use just a regular paring knife if you want. It still works. And then what I put in there is it's a spinach. It's spinach, and your sour cream kind of like a typical, but I add a little bit of feta cheese in it, just to give it a little twist in it.
And I'll hold this up here so you guys get a little better peek at this.
And you got your difference. I got Melba toast, lasts a long time. I got your toasted pitas, and actually chicken fingers. Normally they'd be a little warm. It's hard to find chickens with fingers.
But that's why, because they're on the plate. That's the reason there's no more chicken fingers.
Yeah.
So we got to make sure these are okay.
Yeah.
Chef, you dip it in there then?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, we got to make sure you get the cheese on there too. That's a good combination.
Yeah, I like contrasting taste and bring little things out that you don't expect. Nice thing about it
good
is
start.
if you don't like feta cheese, you can kind of work around it.
All right, so that's really good. That's a good way to get things going.
And you could go and make your crackers are no-brainers. Buy them from the store. You can either bake your own bread or you can go buy the loaves at your local grocery store. So you can make all this up in advance. I wouldn't put the
dip inside
until right before. But again, you could do this a couple days in advance. No problem there. If you want, you could actually do a French bread bowl. French roll. It's a little more crustier, but it kind of makes the appearance a little different.
Yeah, and also you get the oblong ones look like a football.
Right.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right. So what else do we have as we looking around here?
I decided to do something a little different. These are strawberry footballs. And what I did for these is I made it really, really easy. I got the chocolate that you take and just put in the microwave for like 5 or 10 seconds. So you once you wash your strawberries, you put it in, you dip it in the chocolate, you set just a little.
Now, do you have to dry your strawberries before you dip them in the chocolate?
I wash them.
That's one thing that people forget about that.
Yep, I wash them and make sure they're completely, or else they bleed a little bit, and then the chocolate doesn't sit.
Okay.
And then, so I dip it in the chocolate while the chocolate's setting. I'm doing something else. But then I come back and I do some white chocolate. And you could do other things too. I mean, just for football, I thought it kind of looked neat doing something like that, a little different.
Now, the little skinny lines that you use there, did you have a special tool for that? Or did you stick that in a bag? What'd you do?
Yeah, to make it easy, I took a sandwich bag. instead of buying a pastry bag or anything like that. So you just put it in your sandwich bag, and you cut the tip off just real fine, and it just kind of makes it real easy. So you don't have to go buy any pastry tubes or bags or anything like that. Again, I'm trying to make things that you can do at home without going and buying a lot of extra equipment.
All right. So what are you doing at your place? Are you having a big Super Bowl party at your place, or are you going to be going to one? What's your involvement on Super Bowl Sunday?
I'll be going to one.
You'll be going to one?
Yeah.
No, when you have somebody like this that's coming over to your Super Bowl party, do they request things from you, or do you bring something that's a standard fare?
Well, the problem is this is a dilemma I have. I mean, I even have it. We do bring a dish in to work about once a month, right? And they do awards for it. Well, it's not fair because
You're an award-winning chef.
I know.
Yeah.
So
you
I
go to
told-
Vegas and clean house when you go to Vegas.
So everybody started giving up, and they're store buying everything. And I'm the only one that's doing the stuff and fixing it up. I said, okay, no more. I don't need the award. I know. Let's have fun in that. So we're kind of refining from there. But it's interesting too. Like when you go to a party or something like that, you know, they want you to bring things like that. And of course, you got to outdo it, you know, and try to.
yeah, what's the best thing you've ever made when you went to a party like this? Because I'm sure you're one of the most popular guys for things like this. But obviously, everything you make is going to be good. But what's the one thing you got the best response from when you brought it to a party like that?
Mini beef Wellingtons.
Okay,
So
explain.
it's with your filet mignon. You have your duxelle sauce, which is a very expensive mushroom. And then what you do is you cook the little fillets, and they're small. If you took your 6 ounce, you'd get 2 ounces out, you know, for. Then you can do either you can make a French bread, or you can make it real easy and get puff pastry that they sell at the store. So cut it so it fits, put it on there, an egg wash around it, put it in the oven, and just have a thermometer check the temperature. Obviously, you know, anytime you're working with a fine grade of meat, it's better if it's like medium rare.
Okay, which is what temperature for you?
150. Well, actually, I use the old-fashioned way.
Okay, that's the reason I asked, because there's some people that have different schools of thought when it comes
Yep.
to what rare is and what medium is.
Not everybody has a thermometer. So you have a way like this.
Oh, you're getting really basic. Okay.
Yeah. So if you go like this, basically, that's well done. You bring it in a little more, medium rare, medium, and once you do it for a little while, you'll figure it out. And that's exactly how
Because
the
you
meat
end
will
up
be.
doing that anyway. If you cook it all, you realize you do touch the meat and try to figure out how well it is done.
Yes.
Okay, so this gives you an indication. So
Right.
stretched
now
out.
from the side, though, okay?
Okay.
Because you got, yeah.
Stretched out.
That's well done.
Stretch out. It feels like the webbing
Right.
between your finger and your thumb.
It's tight.
Okay.
Right.
And then you just close it up a little bit, and that's medium.
Yes.
Okay. And is that the way you want it, or do you want
Yes.
it rare?
No, you want mid-rare, medium rare.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's another easy way.
Right.
You don't have the thermometer handy to do all that.
And another reason besides the meat being more tender that way, most products you have still rise after you take them out of the oven 10 degrees. And so it's still going to cook a little bit. Plus it's inside that your pastry thing, so it acts like its own little oven.
Little insulator then
Right.
too. Okay.
Yeah, and
so
it's
you
really,
didn't realize that.
It's real nice. It's easy to bite, and it's fantastic.
Now, when you one more question about this, when you have the hunk of meat, are you cooking the meat totally inside that pastry, or are you heating the meat up ahead of
You
time?
can do it either way. If you were doing a large fillet or a whole loin, you'd cook it raw with the pastry around it.
Okay.
But the little ones, you can cook them without because they cook so fast.
All right, so you don't overcook it, because a lot of people have a
Yeah.
tendency of cooking them first, put them in there, try to raise the temperature again, then they get all dried
Right.
out,
It's
and you're
gonna
ruining
rise
the
well.
meat.
Right.
Basically.
Now, the only downside on that is you can have everything prepped, but you can't even put your meat into your pastry dough until you're ready to put it in the oven.
The very end.
Right.
Okay. Perfect. All right, folks. So there you have it. We have some ideas here just to get you started, but hopefully you can stick around, because when we come back, we're going to be creating something else, Chef. What are we going to create when we come back?
Okay, what we're going to be doing is a 5-layer dip. It's going to have creme fraîche in it, bacon, tomatoes, lettuce.
And we'll explain what creme fraîche is. Okay, I have no idea what that is. We'll find out what that is in just about 2 minutes. Stick around. We'll be right back. Chef Wolf is staying right here. This is CW Iowa Live in Westerville.
Okay, we're going to do this.